Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to East Shore Unitarian Universalist Church. I am Mary Mason, the board of the chair, the nervous chair of the board of trustees. I would like to welcome you to our church today. I would like to extend a special welcome to any newcomers who are with us this morning for the first time. I encourage you to spend some time getting to know us. If you would like to be on our mailing list, we invite you to sign up at the greeters table. You will find additional information at the pamphlet rack in the narthex, and our greeters would be happy to answer any questions you might have. Please join us for coffee and light conversation in the back of the sanctuary following the service. Today we extend a special welcome to our guests Janet Narton and musician Laura Silverman. We have a special service today to thank Janet for the generous gift of her father's grand piano to our church. We all have our individual travels through life that bring us here to this moment. This beautiful piano is no different. It was a beloved instrument played for decades by Janet's father, Mr. Bruce Eakin. Mr. Eakin played beautifully and took lessons well into his 80s. He was an attorney at the Jones Day Law Firm and a longtime member of First Unitarian Church in Shaker Heights. He served on the board there. When his family determined they no longer had a proper home for his beloved piano, they reached out to the church. The music director there suggested East Shore because he did not have an immediate need for the piano, and the family contacted us and arranged for the piano to come here. This happened during the shutdown caused by the pandemic. As a congregation, our first introduction to this beautiful gift was videos of it being played via our services broadcast by YouTube. We welcome Janet and all other visitors here this morning to this service, which celebrates the gift of a beautiful instrument. With gratitude in our hearts for this generous gift, we come together today to lift up the noble ideas of generosity, beauty, and community. Come, let us be present for one another in worship and love. Now please rise in body or spirit and join in our opening hymn, number 67. We sing now together, found in our great hymnal.
For life and folks light glowing, show us beauty, vision, and joy. So the next part of our service is the joys and cares. And we have the book that's in the narthex out there that people write on. And we have 2 entries today. Prayers and healing thoughts to Reverend Joe Donatone, who was diagnosed with COVID yesterday. Needless to say, I'm a little bit emotional about this. He will be with us in spirit today and with those who are speaking in his stead. We also send healing thoughts to Nancy Tozer's son, Max Arnsberger, who also has COVID, and Shirley Hairston and her husband, who are caught in Norway and could not get back for our service because they did not pass the COVID test. Unfortunately, this pandemic is not over. I also have a joy to share. This is from Bill Pastor. A joy to share that on May 28th, Fran and I will celebrate our 55th wedding anniversary. And those and any other thoughts that you hold in your heart, we want to bring to our stones in the center of our beacon. And we turn our attention to those moments in our lives that bring us together in community. The milestones of our lives, which call for celebration and the sorrows for which we seek comfort. I invite you at this time to hold a stone in your hand, whether you brought it with you this morning or took it from the bowl at the top of the aisle, or if you would like to grab one now, let this stone anchor you in this moment. And then we keep a record of our most, I've already done that. So now we will observe a moment of silence for these and all the joys and cares left unspoken. When the singing bowl sounds, I invite you to place a stone in the bowl underneath our beacon. When the bowl is full, we will add these stones to the landscape around our building as a physical reminder of all that brings us together. was written by a friend of Reverend Joe Donatone. And it's called A Web of Holy Relationships by Reverend Lynn Cox. Spirit of life, who draws us together in a web of holy relationships, make your presence known with us and in us and among us. Remind us that we are not alone in history. Ignite us with the courage of the living tradition. Remind us that we are not alone in entering the future. Anchor us in patience and perseverance. Remind us that we are not alone in our times of grief and pain. Comfort us with your Spirit, manifest in human hands and voices. Remind us that we are not alone in joy and wonder. Inspire us to honor and extend the beauty we find in this world. Divine music of the universe, let our hearts beat in diverse and harmonious rhythms, cooperating with an everlasting dance of love. May we move with the rhythms of peace. May we move with the rhythms of compassion. May we move with the rhythms of justice. Source of stars and planets and water and land, open our hearts to all of our neighbors. Open our souls to a renewal of faith. Open our hands to join together in the work ahead. So be it. Blessed be. Amen.
To read for you the sermon prepared for today by Reverend Donatone. When I was a kid, my Nana and Papa lived 2 doors down. I would run across the yard and spend hours sitting at their kitchen table or relaxing with a book in their quiet living room. It was the hub of our little family compound. My youngest uncle grew up in that house. Chip is an exceptionally talented keyboard player. When he was younger and demonstrated his early talents, my grandparents bought him an enormous Hammond electric organ, which took up an entire corner of their front sitting room. I remember being there about 6 years old and wandering over to the house. Nana was busy in the kitchen and shooed me along to go pester my uncle and to get out from underfoot. As I turned the corner into the living room, he was in the front parlor, seated at the organ. He must have noticed me out of the corner of his eye, because before I could get a word out, he lit up that organ at full volume. I froze in my place as the piercing opening notes of Bach's Toccata and Fugue in D minor filled the room. He continued into the deep and ominous second measure with the rumbling discord that would build, lingering in the disharmony, allowing the tension to grow until it reached a triumphant resolve in the third measure. I unfroze myself with a terrified shriek. Tears running down my cheek, I turned and ran out of Nana's house and across the yards to the safety of my own home. In the distance, I could hear my exasperated Nana yelling at my uncle. "What in the world did you do to him this time?" It would take me 15 years in a music appreciation class in college before I would learn to relish that music resolve and the mastery of Bach. In his virtuosity, Bach knew how an organ sound would linger and reverberate through a chapel. He knew the discomfort his cacophony of notes would evoke in the listener, holding that tension until he was good and ready to let the listener off the hook at the top of the climb. Though only 6 years old, I felt that horrible tension Bach intended me to feel. Well, for many people, this song reminded them of movie monsters. For me, it did not. I had already learned to fear different kinds of real-life human monsters who made me feel that same ominous tension in my chest. Danish author Hans Christian Andersen wrote, "Where words fail, music speaks." How perfect is that description? Recently, I had the opportunity to use it to quiet down one of my more opinionated friends. We were discussing my love of musical theater. My buddy does not share that love. He loves straight plays that deeply appreciates drama and comedy. But throw in a few musical numbers into the mix, and you lose him. We were discussing the new West Side Story remake and how much I love it. "Why," he complained, "does Leonard Bernstein or Stephen Sondheim or now Steven Spielberg feel the need to improve upon Romeo and Juliet? And that song, Maria. Why does Tony need to break out into song about his infatuation with Maria? Maria, Maria. He's just repeating our name a few dozen times." So many snappy comebacks came to mind, but I held back. More than anything, I wanted to ask him simply, "Do you even listen to the words?" Seriously, the answer to his question is right there in the lyrics. "Maria, I just kissed a girl named Maria, and suddenly I found how wonderful a sound can be. Maria, say it loud and there's music playing. Say it soft and it's almost like praying." Tony must break out into song because that's what Maria's name is to him, music. Say it loud, and there's music playing. The experience of her name, the experience of his abounding love, and the magic at that moment have become transcendent, like a prayer. Say it soft, and it's almost like praying. But to answer my incredulous friend, I pulled out that description. Where words fail, music speaks. I explained to him that in a 3-minute ballad, we learned so much about Tony. We learned that a long list of qualities that would otherwise take pages of spoken dialogue. Even in the most skilled playwright's hands, the flat words would only capture a fraction of what music can say. Music speaks a different language. Yes, it can have lyrics and often borrows the richness of poetry. That borrowing, however, is simply for clarification. The melody itself speaks a language that resonates with a different part of our being. It resonates with the part of our being that is beyond words and expresses nuanced feelings that language cannot capture. Or, as abolitionist Henry Ward Beecher said, music cleanses the understanding. It inspires and lifts it into a realm which it would not reach if it were left to itself. When I think back to that moment when I was 6 years old and standing in the front parlor of my uncle at the organ, I believe Bach's music functioned as Henry Ward Beecher describes. In that moment of overwhelm and fear, there was also clarity. I didn't have the words for what I was experiencing on the inside. The trauma and grown-up tragedies surrounding me were incomprehensible at that age. But Bach's toccata resonated. The music asked me to confront something I was not yet ready to face. I realized that I'm using a sermon illustration that is super specific to my life. However, I would imagine moments in your lives when music said more than could be put into words. This brings us to our cause of celebration today. This morning we come together to honor Janet Narton's tremendously generous gift to this congregation, the gift of music. Unique to our Unitarian Universalist tradition, each one of us here today is on an individual spiritual path. None of us believe the same things or practice our faith in the same way. As a minister in this tradition, that poses a considerable challenge. Worship on a Sunday morning is a collective activity. We come together to lift up and explore that which has deep meaning to this congregation. How do we lift up an idea so that it will resonate with Christians and humanists and pagans and Jews, the Buddhists, and all other travelers of our wide diversity of spiritual paths? Music is one of the best ways to accomplish this seemingly impossible goal. Author Henry Wadsworth Longfellow said, "Music is the universal language of mankind." I believe he was right. American freethinker and proud agnostic Robert G. Ingersoll clarifies this idea further. He said, "Music expresses feeling and thought without language. It was below and before speech, and it is above and beyond all words. It was below and before speech, and it is above and beyond all words." Janet Snarton's gift of this piano will allow our current members and generations of members to come the opportunity to experience that transcendence. This piano and the music it will bring will continue to provide a common language to be used among our uncommon spiritual journeys together. Through her beautiful gift, we can indeed find a transcendence that is both below and above, both before and beyond the limitations of mere words. What a blessing to us and to our journeys. May it be so, and amen. right, we're at amateur hour this morning, but I've got my sheet here. For all things which come to us as gifts of being from sources beyond ourselves, gifts of love and life and friendship, we lift up our hearts to thanks this day. Today's all about gifts. The beautiful gift of this piano, the beautiful music that Laura's playing with it, but many, many gifts, great and small, sustain this congregation. And now, it's your turn. Please help sustain our congregation with gifts today. And if you're new to us today, please let the basket pass as our guest. Thank you.
As a member of the Board of Trustees, I would like to thank you for your attendance here today and for all the gifts that you have brought with you. The gift of your presence, the gift of the care you give to each other, and the gift of financial resources that you share with all of us. Please know that these financial resources are used with diligence and care by your Finance Committee and your Board to sustain this caring community. A special thanks today to Janet Narton, the Eakin family, for the gift of their grand piano, and to Laura Silverman for the beautiful music.
services disappeared up here. I think we're at benediction, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. In Greening Lands begins the song which deep in human hearts is strong. In cheerful strains, your voice rises to fill the whole spring world with praise. In our body view, or in a prayerful posture, we join hands in Unitarian Universalist fellowship, pledging ourselves to an individual religious freedom which transcends all creeds, not to think alike, but to journey together.